Hey guys, welcome to Leading Effective Meetings. This is our fourth session. Now, first of all, important things about meetings. The world is still run by those who are willing to sit through the end of meetings, as horrible as they are. Another wonderful statement was, the longer the meeting progressed, the less was accomplished. We all know what happens when we're in 3-4 hour meetings. Nothing happens. When you have a meeting, you make a decision, not decide on the question. These questions need to be done before the meeting. And finally, the majority of meetings need to lead to decisions, not just talk. Now, a couple of best practices. Meetings really should be focused on that 90-day world. You will have an annual meeting and agenda. So you do this annual reviews. You have a quarterly meeting and agenda. So once every quarter, you do one. And then you do a weekly one. So you keep yourselves on track. This is how most departments really should run. And I can't think of any other department at Fairview that wouldn't run this way. Okay. Important thing about us, we can't focus on many things at one time. So if we look at only the weekly meeting agendas with no quarterly or no annual agendas, then we lose the bigger picture. If we look at the bigger picture only, and we don't do the weekly meetings, then we lose sight of what's important today. So what's important? We need to chunk it into separate chunks. We need to do our annual meetings and our quarterly meetings, and then refocus back into our weekly meetings so we can stay focused, because we know we've done our homework already. Now, the weekly meeting and agenda, this is a 80-minute agenda, a 2-period agenda. I wouldn't recommend that meetings really go on for much longer than this, because they don't become very productive after that. Can go on for a little bit longer, but not much from here. Now, basic things to start with. You need 3 roles: a chair to run the meeting, a secretary to maintain the agenda, and a timekeeper. All 3 roles need to be very, very strict about things. Okay, now starting on time is very important. That's timekeeper's job. Make sure that everything starts on time. If you're late, that's that. And we record it down in the agenda that you're late. The agenda needs to have people that attend and what time did they turn up, if you really want to make sure that everybody turns up on time. The other one is everyone should have a notification that the agenda is ready 2 days ahead of time minimum. So it needs to be updated and made clear. I mean, you can do this the day after the previous agenda, frankly, but at least 2 days before the next agenda. Next, the secretary needs to update the agenda to include the actions/outcome from each IDS. Now, we're going to go through how the whole agenda looks like, but every time the IDS comes to an action step, sort of this person is going to do something, the secretary has to update the agenda straight away to say who's doing what. Okay. Finally, you don't need meeting minutes. You basically just add on a new tab to your Google Sheet every time you have a new meeting minute and new meeting. So you just duplicate the agenda again and again and again. Finally, devices down. There is no reason why anyone needs to look at a laptop or a phone during meeting, except the person that is presenting on screen. Very important. Okay. And usually the person presenting on screen is the secretary, because they maintain the agenda. Okay, let's get into the whole thing. First, 5 minutes of segue. The segue is meant to get people into the zone. So share good news about how to help people get their head in the game. So you can do all sorts of things. Best thing that happened to you last week, greatest lesson I learned last week, the coolest thing that a friend did for me this week, so on and so forth. Okay, anything, everybody shares really fast, 5 minutes. Next thing, rock review. Now this is where you look at the 5 to 15 most important individual metrics. Of course, this is on the assumption that you've got 5 people in the team. That's why you have 15. Each person should only have 2 to 3 metrics per individual max. Now, if you're getting to a large team like 20 plus, that's going to be difficult. Okay, try to keep your teams up to about 10 or so, maximum 15, and try and keep it. If you're at 10, then you probably need to stay on 2 metrics only. For example, 2 vendors approach, percentage of completion of homework policy, percentage of completion of M4 lesson plan rewrite. Okay? These are the examples of the metrics that each individual has. Now, remember, rocks are the most important things that you are supposed to do, or each person is supposed to do in the 90-day period, not a weekly thing, 90-day period. These are the rocks. Each person reports on their rocks, and they only say, on track or off track. No explanation, no justification. And note, we only note numbers that are not on target. Okay, and you take those and put those into the issues list. For example, Jason, not on track. Just put it over there. Eric, not on track for rocks. Put that into the issues list. No discussions, no justifications, no clarifying, just identify. Now, the next thing you do is then you do 5 minutes of customer employee headline. So one sentence headline about any customer employee news for the week, good or bad. Like, May, our best parent, is happy with the job we did last week with the Hari Raya celebrations. Hooray! Okay, fantastic. Any bad issues? Drop it down to the issue list. No discussion, no clarification again. This is just to keep people informed about what's going on. Then 5 minutes on the to-do list. Now, the to-do list is a new introduction here. This is a list that we maintain on the agenda, and this will keep on turning up on the agenda week on week on week. We review all the to-dos from the last week's meeting, and they either say done or not done. If it's done, get it off the list. If it's not done, leave it on the list. And items should not be there on the list for more than 2 weeks. Every time we have an item to put onto the to-do list, it needs to be completed within 7 days. Okay? Anytime there's an item on to-do list, it needs to be done within 7 days, so within a weekly meeting, or you write there that this will take more than 7 days. But try and keep them to 7-day actions, because any more than that, people forget and nothing happens. Now we get to the IDS, issues, identify, discussion, solve. This is the big one over here. We tackle the issues list. And remember, before we start the agenda, we need to have declared the top 3 issues that we want to go through each week. Okay, we need to say that in the agenda before the meeting, not at the meeting, because that's just surprising people, and that's not very nice. Okay, protect your time over here. Sorry, not 60 minutes, 55 minutes. Protect your 55 minutes here. Okay. Unfortunately, sometimes you declare 3, you get through 1, but that's okay. Just get through the 1. Do it properly. All right. Don't be surprised when that happens. Sometimes issues are just bigger than you thought they were going to be. Now, finally, conclude. This is where you frame things and you don't have any loose ends. 3 parts. 1, recap the to-do list so that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. Now, if somebody has an item that's coming in from last week that's overdue, remind them this needs to get done by this week. Secondly, discuss any messages that need to be sent to others in the organization, operations department, finance department, marketing department, so on and so forth, and who will do it and how will they do it. Okay, be very clear on these things, because this lack of clarity can lead to a lot of miscommunication. Hence, we need to put in a special section just for communication here. And finally, instant feedback. Ask everybody in the room, give me a number from 1 to 10, do an average, then you know how your meeting went. And remember, you got to remind people, the number from 1 to 10 is about how effective was this meeting, not how much you liked me. It's not a popularity contest. It's how effective was this meeting. Okay? Now, important points on the weekly meeting that you need to pay attention to. First of all, it needs to be on the same day each week, same time each week. Have the same printed agenda. Okay, maybe not printed, but shared Google Sheet. Start on time, end on time. Everybody hates it when things are off time because bad habits get broken. Everybody loves that sense of consistency. Now, this is a weekly agenda sample. I'm going to send you a Excel sheet version of this. You can construct it for yourself. This is just some examples over here. Just note that in the ROC review, I put insert link here. You should insert a link to the where you're going to park all of your rocks, the metrics and monitoring. Okay, you don't do it in the agenda because it's too big, too difficult to see over here. So you insert everything in, the date, the time. The one thing I learned this week, I chose that one as the segue for this week. ROC review, any headlines on. Now this is pretty much a variable section, so you don't put anything over there. You put your to-do list. This is coming in from last week. So I'll be checking everybody that's supposed to be doing things from last week. And then the IDS, notice I've started the top 3. The top 3 are the ones that we're going to try and go through this list, but we're going to go through in that order of priority. We may or may not get to Jacob's issue about needing more workbook resources if we don't have time. That's just the way it goes. Note that I have a couple of extra issues over here that I'm not getting to. I'm just leaving them on the list. Now, close, recap the to-do list. So we'll be telling everybody about this to-do list again. Communication to other departments, and a feedback score. Now, your turn to work. First, you're going to spend 15 minutes to build your own meeting agenda and then send it to WhatsApp. This is fictitious. You're going to create something out of your own imagination. Use the template. Practice doing it, okay? If you have a department, practice doing it as realistically as possible. Next one, we're going to do a 1 hour total run for practice. First 20 minutes, what happened? First 20 minutes, second 20 minutes, third 20 minutes. Now, 20 minutes is what happens. You basically select in a 3-person group, one person to be secretary, one person to be a timekeeper, and one person to be chair, you, okay? And then you basically run through the meeting. Now, please be very explicit and practice the whole, guys, okay, we need to move forward. 5 minutes is up. Please practice calling up people, say, okay, this is not the right time for discussion. We're going to move that item down to the identify list, the issues list for later. Okay, hold on. We're not having this discussion right now. Just practice calling people out so you know what the things that you're going to be doing. Practice one IDS on your list. Now, don't spend more than 10 minutes over here. We're not actually doing the IDS. You really want to just practice the motions, okay? And go through each step rigidly. Really try and talk through each step as much as possible. Spend your full 20 minutes to practice. And then when you're done, switch roles. 3 cycles, okay? Total 3 cycles. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful time.